you very much for joining us this evening. I want to start with a couple of things that you thought you'd never hear at a conference. First, please ensure your mobile phones are switched on so that you can tweet and receive information. And secondly, something that you thought you'd never hear a consultant say, and that is, I'm really sorry, but we forgot to bring our PowerPoints with us today. Welcome to the Twilight Zone. The digital revolution may seem like a cliche to many of us, but now more than ever, technology is changing the way we interact, the way we transfer information, and the way organisers and businesses do business. The statistics are telling. The UK web economy is growing at 11% a year, and that's faster than China and the US. Its value to the economy by 2016 will be £221 billion, and digital advertising rose by 14% last year to £4.8 billion. Every generation must face the next with passion and enthusiasm, and I can say, having had the pleasure to interview many of the folks in the private sector for this study, there is lots of passion and enthusiasm for digital in the UK, and as you'll see in a moment, that's backed up by hard investment. Digital has quickly grown from an unsteady infant in the dot-com era, which is probably when I started in the industry, and grown to become a rebellious teenager in the noughties, and I have a couple of at home if anybody wants one, and I'll do a buy one get one free offer on that as well. So, and social media, I guess, is the most unruly of all and the most disruptive at the moment. Twitter has more than 500 million registered users, and there's more than 1 billion tweets a week. Facebook has more than 800 million users, and if I continue at this pace, it'll have 900 million, so I will speed up, Tim. Then there's LinkedIn, which boasts 150 million members. And Pinterest, which exploded onto the scene in March, became the third most visited social network site with 100 million hits in a week. We've just finished analysing analysing responses from our Digital Maturity Index, and there are some trends that I'd like to share with you. You'll get a copy of the report next week or within the next month certainly, and you'll see some of the outputs on the walls on posters around here, and I'm going to talk about some of those. I think the first theme is that around investment, and the good news is that investment has continued strongly in both the public and private sector. And welcome to the first conference of this year, I think, that's held within a declared recession. And if Simon, if you can go with the biscuits and wine in, that'll be our first cutback done. I've been running this with our business for about 3 years, and I've got to say that it's the first time there was a difference in tonality of investment in the industry today, and that was one of cost reduction for the first time in 3 years became a key feature of both strategies in public and private sector, and was seen as a stronger catalyst than growth, and that was a turning point, I think. All 40 organisations interviewed cited it as a key plank in the strategy for this year. Many of you were looking to shift customer transactions, and that wasn't eradicate from one channel to another, but to move volumes from expensive sales channels face-to-face or telephony channels, and that would be predominantly on to self-serve, which you'll see a lot of. I know O2 have their gurus and online question and answer folks. Immediate response, and that is things like NHS Direct, where you go in and you've got a triage session and you can work out whether you need a doctor, whether you need to go to hospital, or whether you need to take a pill. And again, although that's cost reduction, people are finding that a much better experience. The next key theme was innovation, and one thing that you did tell us, for sizable organisations, you'd need a lot more than a garage and a couple of mates to deliver innovation within the organisation. So what I heard was that for the first time, that people were seeking to have a company-wide end-to-end innovation process. Most of you felt you didn't have one and believed that you didn't have one. Many said that you had innovation, but actually innovation was lost in the process. And the kind of analogy I give is, it'd be a bit like Pininfarina drawing a Ferrari on a beer mat or a napkin, being Italian, and giving it to a German engineer to deliver it and put it through the Volkswagen factory. It would come out probably looking like a Beetle. It certainly wouldn't be a Ferrari, and that's because people felt there was no process to deliver the innovation all the way through, and it would have to pass a standard ROI business case or investment plan, and that generally drove the innovation out of any ideas that you were trying to put down the channel. Both sectors believe the ability to adapt and respond to changing markets were vital. And when we looked at that, though, I think the challenge in future for that is not going to be one of faster time to market for products, but our ability to faster change our businesses completely. And I think the rise and expansion of social is a really good lesson to us today for that. And if you took Instagram and you looked at it from a standing start point of view, within 551 days of being worth nothing, it was sold for $1 billion. And that's quite staggering for speed and change of business model. It probably wouldn't have passed the standard ROI case, and most of our businesses would have rejected it as an idea. Channel shift. With digital evolving at such a pace, organisations say it's a critical choice to understand the best mix of channels. Again, when we started this 3 years ago, it was all about the digital channel. It's an interesting move now that says, actually, I'm more interested in how those channels work together, and particularly the integration of social media into that. 3/4 of organisations now have a social media strategy. Again, when we started this, that was less than 5%. So less than 5% of businesses, up to 75% of businesses. Organisations are spending considerable time maintaining and keeping content relevant on both Twitter and Facebook, and yet what you fed back to us is it was very difficult to measure the value, and 27% of those interviews said they had no KPIs and metrics to measure the results from social media. So that's still an area where you're looking for improvement. In terms of culture and transformation, many organisations recognise the need to change and build the right culture to support true transformational change and create sustainability of that change within the organisations. But digital skills and expertise are often a scarce resource, and secondly, some of the jobs that you're currently looking to develop, it's unknown what the skill set should be, or at least very, very unclear what you're trying to define and what you're trying to do, making recruitment more difficult. However, 2/3 said that you've yet to implement a specific digital recruitment policy within your businesses that would effectively recruit the right skills and talent to that side of the business. All interesting stuff, I think. We'll be sharing the report with you, as I said, but for me, I think the success could be summed up, those businesses that will be successful in the future could be summed up by businesses that can build effective innovation processes and take on organisational and business change at pace are going to clearly be in a winning position. The development of brands, values, cultures and behaviours that will attract and retain the right talent has moved up significantly in importance for those interviews, and that's how you're going to be able to create transformation and sustainable growth in your businesses. And all of that is in the wrap of coupling that with the right approach to channel integration and the management of costs through those channels. So those are the factors you said that are on your digital agenda for 2012. For those of you that have tweeted during that session, I'll say thank you. And for those that were doing their email, remember, that's so old school today. Thank you very much.